Here we see what it takes. See what it takes. Thank you so much. So if everyone you meet is your mother, and you then are the mother to everyone you meet, how do we live? If that is true. And really the word mother there isn't the same as the biology, right? On the one hand, right? It's not because they have biologically come from you. And at the same time, yes, they have. Because we have all come from the same mother, haven't we? We are all family. We are all interconnected. We are all a part of the one, the whole. You could call it this human race, sentient beings. And frequently, the way to freedom, we're going to talk about waking into freedom this morning. In waking into freedom, one of the best ways I know to do that is to get out of my small idea, both about myself, about others, right, and the world, and recollect or remember that reality. We are all family. We're all interconnected. We're all interbeing. And then what would be its result? Well, then there could be no greed, could there? Because you would do anything you needed to do to feed your children, wouldn't you? You would. You would do anything you needed to do to care for your loved ones. And there would be no exception, would there? Wouldn't kidneys, people go, absolutely, I'm signed up, right? It blows your mind, really, doesn't it? Yeah. Bone marrow, no problem. Painful surgery, nope, I'm in. The brother, the uncle, right? And so one of the first paths to freedom is actually a view, correcting our view. And the view is somehow that my job is to just take care of this. It doesn't mean you don't, but only, and then only, and those few others called the people in my house, the people with my name, the people with my skin color, the people with who live in my neighborhood, right? And you can see all these artificial then, right? Joko called them falsely believed thoughts, concepts. And so then if we understand that the path to freedom, the waking to freedom is in dissolving, we're going to practice that in our meditation today, dissolving the barriers. That's the path. The result is what? We naturally then respond as you are my brother, and you are also my friend, and you, right? And your specifics, these little tiny things called, you have those earrings and she has that hat and we have that hair, and really just continues to dissolve. So I'm going to start us there with this waking to freedom. And so here's a question. If freedom is always available every single moment, regardless of circumstance, it's just hard to, right? Doesn't mean suffering is equal. We're not going to do that, are we? No, it's not right. But if it's equal, then what is where's the freedom? Regardless of circumstance, if freedom is available everywhere at all times, then where does it come from? Any thoughts about that? So now we know, right? It isn't how much money, though it's handy. Where does it come from? We're going to sit with that a little bit in the practice and see if we can wake up to what the realities of freedom, where it actually resides. I'm going to see, is it you who has to go to co-host to get me on to this? Because I have something on my screen. So I want to share screen. It looks like I can here. Yeah, I got it. I want to read this. This is from Sharon Salzberg from the book we're looking at currently. And she writes, A Life of Freedom. And here's what she has to say about it. Most people think of being free as an absence of external constraints and the ability to do as we choose, exercising our independence, right? We're a very independent culture in any given situation. But in Buddhism, we just could say in the contemplative practices, freedom has a rather different meaning. The Buddha spoke of our essential freedom of mind and heart as the capacity to stay open, awake, and loving under any circumstance. Little hint. Life will always bring pain, loss, and hardship. This is a part of being human. But no matter what comes our way, we can always choose to respond. This is our basic freedom. We can react from unhealthy and limiting patterns that create further entanglements and suffering, or we can meet the moment with compassion, acceptance, and inner spaciousness. When we can keep our minds and hearts open under any circumstance, then we've truly found freedom. And I won't go on to read the rest. So do you get this idea? Freedom, and actually then other words, by the way, I'll use words like enlightenment, spaciousness, are all interconnectedness, intraconnectedness, then are always available. And then our practice is designed, as the one we're going to do now, it's always designed for us to see the obscurations, what climbs in the way, without hatred, without judgment, right? That's the contracting, constricting that Sharon Salzberg talks about, without a judging, without defining oneself. I am only this harsh thought. I am only, no, well, this is just a part of our humanness. How do we create space, compassion, right, for the reality of our humanness, so that we can then be expanded enough, open enough, we could say receptive enough to hold what? Others in their humanness. We're going to be asked to do this over and over and over. If you can't, when you can't, I use this over and over as an opportunity to go, what am I rejecting, resisting, judging, condemning in where? Myself. In myself. Right? And that's where the work ultimately begins. But look at how easy it is, isn't it? To go, no, it's that. It's you, it's me, and that solidifying, that fixating is the constrictedness, the contractedness that limits our life. We don't want to hang out there. It's like putting on the big squeeze and trying to have a happy life. It would just not be possible, would it? It's just not possible from there. So do we get what I'm saying? Right? So freedom, always available, no other way to be, no other place to get, but a certain quality then of what? Heart, mind. How do I greet this? How do I open to this? How do I expand and even include the contraction? This is where the work is. So this idea that somehow, I call it the short course to enlightenment, how do we get to expandedness, expansion, openness without including everything. Well, then it's not possible. But we spend a lot of time running the other way, don't we? Like, not this quality. We're going to work on that today. How do we create space? That is the opening we're going to begin with. And that is the path to true happiness and freedom. So let's work on it a little bit together. I'm going to try not to knock over everything here. That will take a little bit of work. I'm just going to check to make sure we're all okay. I just want to make sure we're all getting this idea. Does this make sense to everyone? Courtney, you're online. There's, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then we also know where we look for freedom, don't we? We know where we go for freedom. If I can go on that trip, if I can travel, if I can get that car, if I can have that job, if I can create this, right, then, and often we use material. I have to tell you, we just do, don't we? If I could get that. Good morning, Dia. Then I could be free. There's nobody here who has found that to be true. And in fact, the minute you buy that new car, you need to work harder. The stock market's got to go better because now you got to pay for that thing. You want to go on that big trip, the same thing. What do you have to do? You have to work hard to get to a way of living where you have an extra 20 grand to get to New Zealand. Right? And why do we go to New Zealand? We're looking for freedom. Where no one in New Zealand has that, by the way, if you've been there. No, they don't. That's not how they do it, which is why we go. We go to remember. Yeah. Non-attachment, that's right. Non-attachment is our new Sharon's word in real life for openness, expansion, right? That's that same idea. Non-grasping, non-gripping, no struggle, residing or resting in the flow. Let's try it together now. Sorry to hear you're not feeling well, Dennis. Here's the beautiful work in front of us. How do we rest? How do we rest? In that. Tight belly, right? Let's see if we can find a way here together. All right, put everything down. You can turn off the video if you're going to go to sleep. Let's see if we can't do this. Okay, I'm going to take one more sip because I have a little dry throat. Everybody do the same here. So then finding the posture of freedom. The posture of freedom, what's that look like? Well, for me, my feet on the floor actually is very stabilizing and allows the rest of my body and mind to rest. So I just put my feet flat on the floor. You might have yours curled beneath you in some way that invites that wakefulness and aliveness, just feeling into the body for a moment. We don't leave the body so quickly for a quality of mind. We embody. And then finding the uprightness in a way that feels restful, supportive, available for you. For just a moment, feeling the contact points that invite that stability for you. For me, it's the feet, as I said, just feeling the contact, moving up into feeling the seat, being held by the earth and by the chair, the bed. The uprightness of the spine. the hands in contact with the lap, with each other. And then that gentle flow and movement of the breath. And we're going to imagine this morning very differently than just making contact with the breath in the body. We're going to imagine the breath coming from spaciousness, moving through the body, which is not solid, in fact. Incarnating, informing, enlivening, inspiring, and then imagining that breath flowing out with each out breath. So another way of thinking about this, if the flow of the river, life in its river form doesn't feel right for you, you can just sit in open space, place the attention in the wide angled lens of the breath, breathing the big breath, I call it, the breath that comes from open space and returns. Just see how it works for you. And then may we call to mind our own mothers and their mothers and theirs. And inviting them all present. May we feel their care, their kindness, their love, and their support, no matter their personality. It's not the point. Don't define them. They carried you. They offered you this precious human life. And for this, they are deserving of gratitude, of reverence, of honoring. May this practice benefit all beings everywhere without exception. Nourishing the mother in us all. So just riding the wave, the breath, and the flow of that river. We're not in any kind of contracted breath practice here. We're just resting in the expansion and the openness. And then with each out breath, we're going to be dissolving this solid self, this Diana, this teacher, this daughter, this wife, this mother. With each out breath, we dissolve our ideas, our constricted, limited stories about ourselves. We dissolve it into that open space. And we rest at the end of that out breath in what we call empty space or openness. See if you can't sense that at the end of the out breath. No role, no name, no color, no size, no limitation. No struggle. Waking into freedom. Be watchful of analyzing, of naming, of pro or prescribing. Be careful because we often define ourselves in just this way. This body, me, this role, who I am. These functions, these relationships. See where you have placed that tag, I am. And is there any freedom there? With each out breath, we dissolve the concept, we dissolve the narrative, we even dissolve the name, teacher, student, to rest in, well, we're just going to call it open space. Breathing into it and breathing out from it, letting go of all contractions, both mind and body. Which means letting go of all concepts. I just heard a bird caw. Am I the listener, the hearer, the thinker, the breather? Am I the liker of the sound, the not liker of the sound? Am I the distracted one? With each out breath, we let the idea dissolve, to rest once again in direct experience. What if hearing is just happening? And we'll look at for just a second for fun all the belief thoughts about hearing, what we should be hearing, what we shouldn't be hearing. Where does hearing come from? Then we land it right in the ears. It's not actually true. We hear with the whole body. We have things we like to hear and things we don't like to hear. And letting that river flow, the river of sound just arising and passing. Not defining the hearer or the hearing by one object or by one felt sense, sounds I like and sounds I don't like. And then we even dissolve the separation and the struggle of sound in any way being separate from self, co-arising. So we've let go of Diana, we've let go of the idea of what I'm supposed to hear, how I'm supposed to hear it, whether it's good or bad, right or wrong, to see if we can't come to rest in that awakening freedom that simply opens the whole of one's being, heart, mind, body, the sound arising and passing. We let the river flow. Sounds to the left, to the right, above and below. We are not the center of the sound. We are just along in the stream, completely free. And then we form open relationship. There's nothing to get rid of. There's nothing to cling to. There's no special way of being. There's just abiding. arising and passing sounds. Completely free. There's nothing to cling to. There's no one to be. You don't even have to be the hero. You could see yourself exactly as that flowing river. Nothing fixed or stuck or permanent or you. And then it's always interesting to me to see where we contract, where we look for stability or security or permanence, all looking for me. And I want you to see that when you do that, you immediately contract from that freedom, that vast open space. We disconnect from that ever flowing reality to ground, to take our stake, to take a claim, all out of fear. I'm not the sound. I am not the thoughts about the sound. I'm not the hearer or the thinker. This is just like this river, ever changing, ever flowing. And then let's shift our attention for a moment for a little more practice. See if you can't come into the body and just sense for a moment, once again, the breath. This is not your breath. The breath defined by the expanding of lungs and the intake of oxygen. It's a process, not a thing. And we simply let the breath flow, rising and passing. And can we let the breath arise and pass without taking claim? My breath, my body. Can we let go of the identity of the Diana breather? Resting in the flow, waking into freedom. We could let go of the concepts of my sensations, my lungs, even my experience. This is where Joko's idea of the 16th floor view can be helpful. What if you didn't take claim of any of it? Not this body, not these sensations, not the one who is breathing. Where would the mind rest? Just as sound is ever flowing and impermanent, not mine, not me. Just as sensations and the breath. And just as the breather, nothing to hold on to. Ever changing, ever flowing, ever arising and passing. A river of phenomenon coming and going. And then where do you grab on? Where do you look for a handle, some ground? Often we go to thoughts. My thoughts about the river, my thoughts about open space, my thoughts about the practice, my thoughts about freedom. Not me, not mine, and not fixed. We can ride the waves of the ever arising and passing thoughts without becoming the thinker. we can do the same here with emotions, feelings of ease, of calm, of frustration, of fear, rather than define ourselves by our experience and emotions. We can recognize the river of emotions and feelings simply flowing along. Just as the breath is not mine, these sounds are not mine, these sensations are not mine, these thoughts, not mine, not me. And unfortunately, words themselves will concretize, will solidify experience so that, well, now I have calm and now I don't. Now I'm in love and now I'm not. Now I have ease, then it's gone. And you can see how dangerous this becomes because we're then always chasing, seeking, rejecting. Just simply phenomenon rolling along. Waking into freedom. Already here, already sublime, completely available. And then there is no struggle. There is no grasping or clinging. There is no separation by concept, by race, ethnicity, gender. There is simply the rising and passing phenomenon and our knowing. Even that knowing is not ours. Untangled, unknotted, imperturbable flow. And can you feel the effects? And then we rest in our real life. Completely free. And then we see all the places we get hooked. And in the book, in chapter 2, we're calling that addiction. She's calling that addiction. All the places. For security, for stability, for a sense of being okay. And then we can look, especially as we practice dissolving, letting it go. You can see, where do you grab? Where do you grab? So let's talk about that for a minute. Where do you grab? You got a chance to take a look at that. Where is that?
Grab itself.
Grabbing some selfing, ideas about the self or not self, right? I can't do this. I don't have it. I don't know what she means. I don't know.
The opposite of the other people.
Say it again.
When there's the opposite of
Blaming the other people. We look for if only something, right? The if only. If only that noise weren't there. If only that partner hadn't said that. If only they did what they were supposed to do. Oh my God.
If I had done the other thing, it would have all turned out different.
Figured it out. If only I could have seen it sooner. If only, right? I wouldn't know that. Is it true? It's not true. It's just an idea, right? Because we're in a place we don't like, or we don't want to be, or we don't think we should be, or right, we're not in the marriage we thought we were going to be in, or we thought the partner didn't do what they thought we thought they should do, and they didn't, blah, 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 right? Don't we do it? I had a little funny joke appear in my mind, which is we believe we should put our pants on in the morning. But is it true? And the answer is no, actually, it isn't true at all. There is a cultural norm for that, but there's a whole bunch of places where that's not actually required. Right? First, not the pants, and then not having to put them on.
I didn't. Without pants.
That usually lightens things up when we go like that.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like the team internal.
Just saying.
It was like on East Coast time.
Yeah.
So I'm here, but I have no pants.
Leah was just telling a little story about actually being on Zoom without pants on,
Yeah, I mean, we
right? Yeah. And is it required? Well, no, it's not. And yes, again, there's some relative context for life. It's just probably not worth going outside without them. Right? Is it a right or wrong? Well, this is relative, isn't it? There's nothing absolute about that. In fact, when we're in Hawaii, my husband and I love the idea of just throwing on sarongs and really not having to do all the things we tend to think we're supposed to, right? And not having to have to get the thing, go the place, do the comb the hair, right? And the freeing nature, right? Isn't it? Isn't that a part of why we do those things? To really get out of the this it's gotta look like, be like, I have to something or anything. And then, so where do you see yourself grab? Lisa said self. What self? What self are you making? My favorite, of course, is the doer. Got to get that done. I'm making baked beans today, by the way, for Mother's Day. Right, got to get that. Where's that going? Where am I putting that? And really, by the way, does anybody, by the way, they're fabulous. And so what, right? If it's right to make them, it's lovely offering. There's a way to do it, by the way, for me, that's just fun. But if it's demanded, now we have a problem, don't we? It's not the baked beans, though, that were ever the problem. It's not the work. It's not the purpose, the things we choose to do. These are not our problems. It's the demand, the gottas, the if I don't, then something's wrong or bad or deficient in me or another, right? And that's the contraction. Could anybody feel the opening? Yeah, right. It's right there, isn't it? This kind of, wait a minute, what if I just took off the me-ing and then the in relationship to the thing-ing, then it's all just flow. That's why Joko used to say, take the 16th floor view. Get out of that self of you thinking it's got to make something happen, or it's got to figure it out, or you got to do it, or you got to, and just watch the flow, right? Okay. It's actually a healthier perspective, by the way, says the neuroscience, from which to make decisions skillfully, lovingly, without grip or demand or result, and also more creatively done. You will see more possibilities from there than you will from that contracted, constricted, tight place. And so if waking into freedom means letting go, not taking on, what can you let go of? What can you let go of? And in fact, I'm going to encourage you to do so.
I think
Wh-
during.
Yep, go ahead.
I was during the practice today, and I came in and well, I was I don't know. I think that I've been starting to do this whole like just taking me out of the center. Just I love the word flow, but the thing was, what is that thing at which you think you're arriving? Mine has been kind of this whole damaged goods because I've now been basically married twice and two very very long relationships. I've just been carrying around the I'm damaged goods banner,
Yeah.
right? Like everywhere I
Something's
show
wrong
up,
with
it's
me.
like, okay, well, there must be a problem here. I'm damaged goods.
I must be the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just kind of like started in practice today to kind of say, well, maybe I've got a lot of experience that other people don't have, or perhaps I'm going to come into a relationship with a whole different viewpoint, or
It
so
may
I
be some wisdom and skill.
yeah, so I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, I don't have to show up. I'm always like, Apollonia, I'm divorced. And people
Yes.
go, oh, well, you get through it. And I go, I never want to tell people like that's my second time. So I kind of know the go around here. But it was just kind of like I
Yes.
really have.
Yes.
And I've been walking through the last 3 years of this, or 2 years, whatever it's been.
Too
with kind
long.
of this
Yeah.
deficiency, right?
Yes.
And, so anyway, I thought that was really helpful.
Yes.
To-
Taking off the labels.
Yeah.
Right.
coverage out.
I am the divorced person. I am the one whose kids didn't call. I'm the one who, right, doesn't have the new blah, blah, blah. I'm the one who didn't get the promotion. I'm the one who, right, didn't leave the relationship soon enough. I think I heard Robin say, or right. Right, being watchful of that addictive pattern. And I really want you to get this. And Courtney said expectations. How addictive are those? That's heroin if I've ever known it, right? How addictive are those? Got to go like this, got to be like this. I got to be like this. You got to be like this. I'm working hard. You should be working hard. Right. Every day I walk upstairs after like a 29-hour day of doing stuff. And I say to my husband, so what'd you do today?
The dealer.
What were you doing? And he goes, I was putzing over here at this little e-bike battery. I'm like, really? Okay. Now, by the way, where is the demand? Right there. Nothing about him. I'm actually envious of the non-doing. Right? I have to watch that. And then I have to come right back here going, well, then why are you doing what you're doing? Right? What's that? Well, expectation, demand, responsibility, roles, right? Uh-oh, where's the flow? No flow there. No flow there. Addiction. I know how to do it. I know how to do it. Then I have to take it all off and say, what do I choose? And why am I choosing it? Right? And I do that every day. If I'm doing it, why? If I decide to make those baked beans, why? Do I have to make them to be a good mother? No. I'm actually not mistaking that. And then whether I make them or I don't make them, what? I can make them just with love or joy or ease,
Or you
right?
can make it for yourself.
Yes.
So they can just be made.
I could,
for me.
right? Just make them because I like them.
Yeah.
Isn't it true?
I do that
Without.
sometimes when Roman doesn't show up.
That's right.
Here I have the steak. I bought the,
The potatoes are
salmon,
made.
I
No
got all
one's
the
here to eat them.
veggies. Oh, I went out and Panda Express with some friends once. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So, but I think I can do, you can do it for yourself too.
That's
Enjoy it
right.
yourself.
That's right. Just because it's there to do in some way that is invoking, inviting energy, joy, connection, right? These are good reasons ultimately to do them. And then, by the way, whether you do them or not isn't so much the point anyway, isn't it? It's already grown into the bigger thing called love like this, right? Love like this. So Joko had a beautiful thing she used to say. She's coming to mind a lot, I guess, because it's Mother's Day in some way. And she used to talk about love, but not in the most traditional way of attachment or right commitment and at all. Her definition was amazing. It was what's happening in the present moment without my preferences about it.
My favorite for quite a while now is the definition for love is my willingness to struggle to accept myself or another person just as I am or just as they are right now.
Without preference.
It's the willingness to
Yes.
struggle. It's,
Yes.
you know, so then
Yes.
it doesn't become,
Well, it doesn't demand openness either, then, does it?
Yeah.
Doesn't demand open. It says, can I be open to even the struggle?
Yeah.
Even the separating, even the resistance. And in fact, this is our practice, isn't it? See, we're not just getting to the 16th floor. We're walking steps one at a time. And then, of course, what happens, the knee hurts, we fall. Right, that's the reality. So we can even do that as a demand. Well, if I'm really a good meditator, practitioner, person, then I'm just always resting in that 16th floor view. Well, that's not true either, and neither did she. Neither did she.
It's really interesting. You're sitting there because these thoughts would creep in. I had some great examples last week where this word came into play. And it's fascinating to feel like you say, you sort of feel that 16th floor, and then the thought would come in, and sure, I could just feel that grip
Yes,
so tight.
yes,
And I thought, oh, this is amazing, this habit. This is my kind of go-to response.
yes,
So using the word addiction
yep,
is really appropriate because there's such a habit in it.
yes. It's not even a choice anymore. That's a part of an addiction a little bit, isn't it? It's the default mode network taking you. It came to get you. You didn't decide anything. You're just like, what am I doing? Here I am in demand. You want to be like this. Why not? How come it's like this? It should be another way. And by the way, without our preference about it doesn't mean we're not preferencing. That's not what it means. It means we're noticing the bias. We're noticing the expectations, aren't we, Courtney? We're noticing the demands. It's not because they just evaporated. But then once we notice the suffering, this is what the Buddha said, right? The minute you know suffering as suffering, you are no longer lost. That's right. Just to see it, to go, there I am thinking if only you, or only me, or only it, or only life, or why not? How did I get here? Why is it like that? Right, the minute you recognize that, and I recognize it by the pain of it, I don't catch the bliss.
The physical and emotional.
All interconnected interbeing, physical and emotional. Where can I catch it? Wherever I can. Can I catch it in the polyvagal grip? Look, got me here. Can I catch it in the harsh thought? Why not? How come? Leanne just said, oh, now I'm divorced. Can I catch the tag? What does that mean about me?
how about the happiness trap?
Well, if you get it right, if you get it right, you just get to rest in what? Bliss, happiness, ease, light, right? And it's not that it's not true.
Happy,
Right.
then you're wrong, or they're wrong, or the world is wrong.
What is
You know,
happening?
That's right.
Yeah, and well, you keep pursuing happy, and it's,
That's
you
right.
know, what we really want is peace. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Happy is a little bit of even when we use it in our loving kindness phrases, may we be happy. We can easily mistake that, can't we, for me getting my preferences,
I have
which is not, by the way, that's not what they meant.
my oldest son is coming home from college tomorrow. 20-hour internship. Of course, I'm like, well, okay, what are you gonna do with the other 20 hours? Well, Mom, I got the internship. I'm going to law school. I need to do anything else. And I was like, oh my God, but I've been in the grip, right? The grip, like, okay,
Busy. Keep doing.
The idea of watching him for 20 hours, I would count those hours when he drives away.
What else could you be doing with your time?
You know, and he gets scholarships and he gets grants. He goes, well, Mom, I don't need to wear that. Work additional.
May not be useful.
Wow. So that grip is going to be an interesting one for me to test out.
Yes. Doers tend not to be very tolerant
Yeah.
of non-doing. I have a rock drummer son. He is my teacher. He is my teacher. By the way, he's ecstatically happy in his life. I'm like, really? This is right. And I'm exaggerating, of course. Right. But wow. Okay.
Are you kind of well, I mean, you
No,
find
I don't have any struggle with that at all anymore. But I had
But
to
you
let
did.
go of the idea that look at this really bright kid who's not going to, and why should he? Where's right? Why? What's that? Well, my desire for his safety and his well-being, and I only know how to step on those rocks.
right. You have to be able to cope. You have to be able to take care of yourself. And if you can't
And
do that,
since I know how to step on those rocks, I'm looking right behind him, going, step on those rocks too, because that's the way not to drown. Well, no, not actually. That will drown him. It'll just drown him in my expectations, won't it? It'll drown him in my, you need to be some other way to be okay. I have to be, yes, don't we do this, Robin? She says, I have a high school reunion. I have to be 10 pounds lighter. I better get something. Perk it up here somehow. Better get that going, at least get a facial.
oh, it must be your 40th.
Hmm,
Yeah, it's our San Diego.
Yeah.
50 years.
Yep, right? And look what we do. Don't we do it? Don't we do it? And look at the suffering in it. I think this is the point. That we do it is just human. And but wow, right? Look at the lack of freedom we construct by grabbing onto whatever it is you're grabbing. So the doers, I got to look like this. I can't be divorced. I've got to have, right? If I've really got it together, I'm the right. And there's my Buddha rock drummer son. Right. And guess why he's that way? Because I helped him by going, don't grab. And then I didn't want him not to grab. Why couldn't he grab some things? Why couldn't he at least grab a degree? I mean, geez, right? It's not true, is it? It's not actually true, but I want him to be safe. That's true, isn't it? I want him to be okay. That's true. And there's no one way to that, right? And the minute we prescribe, proscribe, we're in the addiction. Gotta look like this. Yeah, don't we? And who do we do it to most? Right, you're looking at them, right? Don't you? You're doing it to you. Be watchful of this.
There's a couple passwords.
Yep, gotta. A lot of gotta. Hi, Rhea.
I like the jewelry.
Yes, that's your little GPS. So as we're, especially in our daily lives, I think we can fall easily into gotta's, right? I got to get this done. Listen to yourself. It's got, right, I got to do it. I've got to, yeah, a lot of gotta, exactly right. And by the way, there's suffering attached. I don't care how well you did it. And if I do those baked beans with the gotta, the better thing would actually be not to do them. And that's hard too, isn't it? Because then we have to dissolve that idea about the self. Right. And then who am I? Who am I then? If I show up without anything. And I have a bias. It's just good to know it. Right. So freedom right here, right now. The Vajrayana school, I'll do just 2 minutes on the Buddhist tradition here. So in the Vajrayana school, that is, by the way, the school that Pema Chodron is in. And we, when we took the refuge vows and the Bodhisattva vow, for those of us who did, took it from the Karmakaju school, which is Pema's, which is the Vajrayana. And they call this open space freedom available every moment. They call that Maha Mudra. Have you heard that word? Yeah. Some of us who've been around a long time. Maha meaning great, big, infinite, vast, spacious. Mudra meaning signal or sign or arrow or
She likes it.
be nice. She's going to get me my treat, right? So Mahamudra, you might have heard the word. And so what does it mean? The great evidence, the big seal, the open space in which it's all happening, and that it's available always, and that any contractedness, and we've named them expectations, demands, definitions, preferences, bias, right? Are simply, I guess the best way to understand that are simply habits of mind. They're not really who we are. We really are the Mahamudra. They are not actually inhibitors. They're just arisings. Can we see them too? It's like, how would you find, like logs in a ever flowing river. For a moment, they might come together and create a little whirlpool moment, right? Where the water can't just flow, but they're really not the problem. The falling into them, the believing in them is actually where the problem is. So we have to be a little bit careful. So can we look for where we're constructing the dams, right, in our own life this week? Where are we constructing expectations, beliefs, all a part of the addictive quality of mind? And we can open in any moment back into that open space. I don't know what time it is, but
8 minutes.
little bit close to 9 o'clock. I want to check in and see what people understand about this. Is there more we can clarify or help you with to understand what's the practice? Recognizing first the contractedness, as well as recognizing when we're resting in the flow, in open space, not taking claim and not rejecting either our experience. I like to just open into skylight quality of mind. I look for all the open space. I try to do that several times a day so that whatever the next set of thoughts, beliefs, opinions are, I can see them just as they are. My wish for safety, stability, comfort, security, without condemning them either. I'm gonna look over here at Leanne because I just, hi Rhea. This is Rhea. She doesn't usually let me touch her. She's not into that. Can we see? Can we see? Here's Rhea. Look at this. Oh, she's gonna, she's wanting her tender vittles is what, she's an addict. Yeah. So she too is an addict looking for her tender.
She's in the go.
So what do we have to say about this crew? What do you know? What do you not know and want to ask? What's true?
Thank you. I'm
Oh.
addicted to my dad not dying.
Yes, we are addicted to permanence,
Yep.
aren't we? It's nice to know we all want things that we love to be here forever. Love, thank God, is forever. It doesn't mean we get to keep the forms of that love.
Right.
Love itself is ever flowing. I have a really perfect relationship with my dad. It's only grown and he's been gone. It will be now close to 5 years. Can't believe it still. And I can't believe that the relationship has grown either. I did not, Leanne was talking about that a little bit. It has become unencumbered completely spacious. Not limited by his humanness or mine. It's a beautiful place to rest. Mahamudra. Really right there. And boy, we don't want to let go.
Nope.
Nope. And neither, I think, Robin, do we have to force that. I don't think it's very friendly or reasonable to go, oh, because we can rest in the absolute open space of love, right, let it go. I think that's dangerous. I think we can open just to your pain or grief or fear around that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Isn't that a place to start? Like, okay,
Yeah,
gripping like this, not wanting it like that. Wanting to hold on to that forever. Don't we all? I suppose we do. I'm scared like you. I didn't know what was possible when he wasn't here. Isn't it true? I didn't know that he
yes.
was already in there in a way that could never be otherwise. And I certainly didn't want to rest in that. I wanted him right here.
100%.
Right? So it's okay. And then we experience the grief or the confusion or the wanting, just like we do. Right? Just like we do. It's the nature of our humanness. It will not work. And we'll get to see that too. It won't work because I can't keep anything stable in this ever-flowing river.
That's the truth.
Can we? And then we just damn ourselves up, I think, don't we? In one of two ways, either going, I shouldn't want that. Well, that's crazy. Or he should live forever. And that's crazy too. Right? So we don't have to get rid of anything. It gets to feel as scary, as hard, as grief-stricken, as not wanting as it does. And then we see where freedom is, just beginning with the recognition.
I guess one of my questions is we have so much, not loss, I guess, but like sometimes it's hard to decipher like what addiction I might be hiding, like I went through a divorce, I had to sell my house, I lost my mother, it just feels, doesn't feel overwhelming, but it just feels like perhaps I would go to the easiest one to be addicted to. I don't know, I feel like my mother's death has almost been energizing, I guess, in a weird way.
Yeah.
But then the divorce continues to ring in this just failure moment, and I can't figure out like, is that am I not grieving my like, I don't know. It's just a weird like just to be in such this kind of stasis of like having no
Ground.
It's like
No
it's
ground.
all floating.
Leanne's going, I got no ground. I've got a divorce, a mom who just died, a house I just sold, kids who are not going off in all their directions.
Yeah, it is but I don't feel overwhelmed, but I just feel like I am gravitating towards perhaps I don't know.
Maybe some kind of, we tend to seek stability in that groundless flow sense, like what can I grab and hold on to? And it might be, oh, me, the divorced person. I can, right? Even that can be an addictive device called.
Well, it is like the marriage.
Yeah.
Not the person I was married to. I don't think it's the fact that I believe that she would make a commitment to you keep it and I can let that go.
Yes.
In order to kind of like experience everything else.
Yes.
I don't know. It's kind of a.
Yes. It's nice to look at. Called, right? If only.
It's not nice. It doesn't.
No, it's no contraction or
stop place.
Won't help you.
Place.
It is. And it's the deep contractedness of, right? Whoa, wait a minute. I just got put on the roller coaster without the belt. And right? Isn't it the reality? New jobs, new relationships, new roles, new, right? The ever-changing thing called, well, it's not looking like that anymore. And I like that. Right. By the way, in the Mahamudra teachings, it says, whatever you believe is stable is psychotic. Whatever you believe is stable is crazy.
I guess that sums it up. I am
Doesn't
crazy.
It's crazy. Whatever you thought was stable,
Mission accomplished.
unchanging, permanent, fixed is psychotic. Insanity, said Chogyam. Just know you're nuts, because that was never true. Even when it looked true, because every day you woke up and there she was, and you went, see, this is good. There they are. No, by the way, not them, not the same person from yesterday, and you're not the same either. Are you? You're not the same either. So what to hold? Where do I secure? Look at that this week, because boy, are you going to notice the addictive device. What can I grab as permanent? And even this idea of love, be careful, because love doesn't look the same moment to moment either. What was Joko's definition? What is arising this moment was her definition, without preference. That's love, isn't it? Think about it. Opening to this completely. Opening to this moment without preference. I want it my way. I want my flavor. I want you to do what I think people do, good partners do. I want to be a good partner. I got a whole bunch of ideas about what that's supposed to look like. Be watchful of the concepts that we bring. You are bigger than you're thinking who you are, right? You're bigger than your thoughts about yourself, and so is the other, right? So is the other. All right, folks, why don't we sit together for just a few minutes? Let's rest in that Maha Mudra. So now you know what that word means, vast, big, open space of you. It isn't just space, it's that vast, open space, heart mind of you. And so finding the way just for a moment, touching into the body, and we just touch into the body as a way of knowing, and then we open from the body into the open space around us. And we rest the mind, what I'm going to say is in both. The sense of the body and its sensations. In its thoughts, in its emotions, that ever flowing river coming and going in vast open space. It takes both. If you just rest in open space, you might miss a lot of life. If you just cleave to the sensations, you're going to miss the vast open space in which they are arising and passing. Maha, remember, great view. Space and that which is arising and passing without preference. May we dedicate the whole of this practice and all practices, all of their merits, all of their benefits, and all of their blessings. May we offer them to all mothers, all those who care, all those who have provided love, attention, nourishment, and that includes you. May you call to mind your own mother and all that they have contributed to your happiness, your health, and your well-being. May all mothers be filled with loving kindness, with happiness, with ease, and may we honor them with this practice. May we not mistake them for their limitations, for their confusion, for their addictions, May we see the Mahamudra in them. And then also in ourselves. May this practice be of benefit and may it continue as we rest in that ever flowing river of awakening. And may it be so this very day. So be it. See if you can notice where joy is. You will notice that is the natural resting place. No demands. That's why we're in joy. We're simply in the energetic flow of life as it is, without preference, no demand, no force, no resistance. And that's how we find ourselves there. So watch for where that is and isn't. See if you can't rest there for a few breaths. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you all as well. I look forward to seeing you all. Next Saturday is the, let's see, here we are, 20th. We'll be here in the garden again. I'm very excited to do that. We don't have another all-day date set just yet. So by the way, we're looking for that. We'll probably be doing that at Pete's in the Geodome. So cool. I'm really looking forward to doing that with him. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Carrie will not be back. Please, thank you for your patience with that. We'll try to get on line and do a little better job. All right, everyone, be well.
Where's Carrie?